This is the Eken H9R. Its equivalent in the GoPro series is the Hero 4 Black series, which is $379 recommended retail. The Eken H9R here on eBay, you can get it for $70 to $75, or on Banggood, even cheaper, $57. That's 6 times cheaper than the GoPro equivalent. Is it any good? Well, let's have a look. So this Eken camera came to me from China in this packaging. There's a few cracks in the display casing, but other than that, everything's in great condition. So let's have a look inside. The packaging is very similar to GoPro. The camera inside a plastic lid, on top of a box, inside another box. First up is the instruction manual, and I must say, considering it's a Chinese product, it's very easy to understand. Then just 2 more boxes. Inside the first box is the remote control wristband and a USB charging cable, while the second box has everything else, and lots of it. Amongst all the assorted accessories is the remote control and its wristband, 5 assorted mounts, a spare door for the waterproof case, 2 click-on mounts, some zip ties and a carry cable, a USB charger and data cable, and a spare battery for the remote control. Amongst all the accessories, the Eken camera did not come with a charger. Maybe that's one way they can save a bit of costs. However, you can use any 5-volt USB charger. You've probably got a few lying around at home. That'll do the job. And it charges from 0 to full charge in about 3 hours. The Eken camera needs a micro SD card, which you have to buy separately. It does not come with one. So here I've got a SanDisk Ultra 32 gig. So one of the first things you do is put that in. Put your micro SD card in. Then press the power mode button at the front. Little light shines. Makes a noise. And on the back you'll see so it's working. And to my surprise too, it's got full battery. So the battery comes fully charged. That's a bonus. Looking at the screen, on the right hand side of your camera is the up and down scroll buttons. I won't mention all the options, but some of them are video resolution, looping video. Yep, that's right, looping, very handy. You can stamp your video or your photo with this time and the date, exposure value, photo resolution, burst photo, time lapse, and upside down. Yep, you can record upside down and the video or photo will be the right way up. Just a quick look at the video resolutions. There's the high definition 1080, either at 60 frames or 30 frames per second. There's 4K at 25 frames per second, 2.7K at 30 frames per second, or your low quality 720 at 120 frames per second. It also comes with a remote control, so you can take pictures away from the camera. I've got it on camera mode, so I'll just take a picture of you. There you go. The other button is for video recording, so if you press it, it'll take video. There you go, it's taking video. It also comes with a wrist strap, so you can thread it through the remote and you can wear it on your wrist. Beam me up, Scotty. As with all sports cameras, the smaller the better. Here's a GoPro Session 5 and here's our Eken. Now comparing them together, the Session 5 is slightly depthier that way, but it's not as wide as the Eken and it's not quite as high. Much in a muchness, the GoPro is probably a fraction smaller and more compact. Now the GoPro Session 5 is waterproof on its own, it doesn't need a special case, whereas the Eken needs its special waterproof case. So that makes it slightly bulkier again. The other thing is, which one's going to be heavier? Well, I've got some scales here, so we're going to weigh them. The Eken camera on its own is 68 grams, while the GoPro Session 5 is 72 grams, pretty much the same. And the Eken with its waterproof casing is 128 grams. So you might reason, why not put the Eken camera in its waterproof casing? That way it's a little bit more protected and it's waterproof at all times. Couple of problems with that. First of all, it's a little bit heavier, that's no big deal, but it effectively is looking through another lens, the casing itself. And the other thing is, once it's in the waterproof casing, it blocks sound to the microphone, so it almost becomes a soundproof little chamber. Whereas the GoPro series are waterproof down to 10 meters and the microphone does work underwater. A cool feature about the Eken camera is you can download an app to your mobile phone and you can connect it via Wi-Fi. Very simple actually. I'll point the camera at myself. Hello, you can see myself in my own phone. Pretty good. Let's go and see how far apart they'll go to talk to each other. With the Wi-Fi on, we're going to see how far we can walk away. I just got to think of something to talk to you about. How about Eken? Well, I'm holding it with this bracket, so it makes a little finger handy bracket. Can you still see me? Phone's a fair way back now. We're about 25 meters, with 30 now, 30 meters, and I don't know if it's working or not, so I'm just taking a guess. Probably about 40 meters now. It's 50. That's a fair way. I got 52 meters in a straight line in the open air. This means you can remotely watch or record video from 52 meters away. If you'd like a spare battery or two, they're really cheap. You can buy them on eBay for less than $10 each, or go back to Banggood, they're $5.40 each. Another good thing is the Eken camera bracket is directly compatible with GoPro brackets. I've got a whole heap of GoPro accessories here which I use with my Session 5, the little cube camera, and guess what? They work perfectly, so that's great. With the standard bracket that the Eken camera comes with, it has a brass thread on the top and the bottom, so you can screw it onto a tripod if you want. There you go, you can wrap it around a branch or something. And here's another one. This is like a clampy thing. Whatever, anyhow, so it's a standard coarse thread that you find on most camera equipment. Here I'm using the handlebar mount, which is included in the accessories. And you don't have to just use it on your handlebars. And for a cool low profile helmet mount, you can make it yourself. Have a look at this video. Right, so you've got some video or photos that you're now ready to put on your computer. Simply get your cable that it comes with and plug it in here. The Eken window should automatically pop up, otherwise it'll be in your access bar. Click on video, and there we are. There's 3 videos in my file. The file is MOV, but pretty much every media player will play that file. Now cut or copy, and you can put them where you want. I'm putting mine on my desktop. It's a quick transfer, and going to the desktop, there they are, the 3 files. Let's click on one and make sure it works. You can also set the date and time. See that on the screen there? Now I don't have a GoPro Session 4 Black, But what I do have is the GoPro Session 5, and it boasts the same characteristics as the Eken anyhow. So what we're going to do, I'll put it in this bracket here, and this bracket, it's next to the Eken. The lenses are very close together and it's on a stick, so I can hold it and do some filming. So what I've set them both at, it's wide angle, because the Eken's set at wide angle anyway. So Session 5 is set on wide angle, and they're both at 1080 by 720 and 60 frames per second. So let's go and do some filming, and then we can compare the results. For this first clip, can you guess which one's the Eken and which one's the GoPro? In the left clip, the green box in the background is more green, and the straw on the ground is more brown. But now look at the right picture. The mesh on the perch is more defined, and the chooks sitting up on the perch in the background are also clearer. The red on the chooks' heads is good in both pictures. So which one's the Eken and which one's the GoPro? For all the other clips, I've labelled them. See if you were right. So we'll do some nature clips first. Here we have some arum lilies and a bush. The green on the foliage is more pronounced by the GoPro on the left, but look at the lily flower. It's more defined by the Eken on the right, while the GoPro washes it out a bit. And here's some smaller flowers, and more of them. While the GoPro on the left brings out more colour, the Eken is a sharper image. Again, the GoPro has more colour, but you can pick out the cow's face better with the Eken, even though there's a bright background, the sky. This is a wisteria, and both the GoPro and the Eken capture the purple very well. Now take a look at the square bricks in the building behind. They're more red with the Eken. Again, the colour's a bit better with the GoPro, but you may prefer detail with a clip like this, and the Eken does a nice job of it.
He'd probably go through 2 or 3 bales a day.
And what comparison would be complete without a beach scene? Well, I don't know about you, but it looks like a warmer summer's day with the Eken than the GoPro, even though it's the same clip. And from water to fire. And now somewhere completely different. And just when we thought the GoPro had the colours hands down, the Eken does a better job here. The sky is bluer, the grass is greener, and the Eken has still got the better detail. And in this clip, you'd be hard pressed to tell which camera is which. Now I don't know what this machine is or does, but I thought I'd throw these clips in anyhow. See if you can see any differences between the cameras. Right, they're sports cameras, aren't they? So let's give them a bit of movement. Here the boys are just warming up, so we're only doing about 20 kilometers an hour, and I'm holding both cameras in my hand. All looks pretty smooth so far, but watch what happens when I rest the cameras on my handlebars. The GoPro is easier to watch, while the Eken clip is jumping about. Now we're doing about 32 kilometers an hour, and as I rest the cameras on the handlebars, the Eken's got the shakes again. And it's all to do with image stabilization. The GoPro has it, the Eken doesn't. Here I've got both cameras on my mountain bike handlebars, and we're riding through a nice little park. The GoPro footage is smooth and enjoyable to watch, whilst the Eken is jittery again by not having image stabilization. Riding with both the cameras on the bike, I found two issues. First of all, when you turn on the Eken, it makes a sound like this, and you can't hear it. With the wind going past your ears, you can't hear whether the camera's on or off. Whereas the GoPro makes that sound, and it's really clear, you can hear that, and when you turn it off again. So you don't know if the camera's on or off, and if you look at the display, sometimes it's so bright you can't see if it's on or off anyhow, so you rely on that sound. The other thing is the GoPro is a one-touch press and it records, press and it stops. The Eken, you've got to turn it on at the power button, wait for it, then press record, then press stop once you've stopped recording and turn the power off again. So a little bit more fiddly. With the GoPro it's a lot simpler. Here on the GoPro, it looks like it's almost night time, whereas the Eken is still showing up some detail. The brightness of the image you record can be adjusted. It's called the exposure value. You can adjust both the GoPro and the Eken's exposure value, but this footage is taken by using the cameras as they are, just out of the box. Here the sun has just set below the horizon, and that little white spot is the moon. The trees and the bushes are just silhouettes at the moment, no colours whatsoever, but as the cameras pan down, the sky becomes less prominent and the cameras adjust themselves to a darker image. The Eken brings out the bush and the green grass quite well. Jump in the water. There we go. Here I found the Eken footage was just as pleasing to watch as the GoPro. So we've looked at this Eken camera from a sports point of view. I didn't touch on such features as time lapse, burst photo or looping, although looping can be handy sometimes. But what are some of the positives and the negatives of this Eken camera? Let's have a quick look. So first of all, the positives of this Eken camera. Number one has to be the price. The quality of the video and the photos that come off of this device are outstanding for the price. Secondly, the little screen at the back, even though it's not a touch screen, a great feature because you can watch what you're recording and play back your files and watch them on the screen at any time. Another point is the remote control and the fact that you can connect the unit via Wi-Fi to another device. Really good features as well for the price. Another thing too is on the side there's support for HDMI. You can connect it directly to a monitor or a TV and watch your files directly from the little Eken unit. And of course, not to mention lots of accessories that you can actually use. Now, some of the negatives for this camera. First and foremost, no image stabilization, and that really is a must for a sports camera. However, Eken do make a H8 series. The H8 series does have image stabilization, so I would go the H8 rather than the H9. Secondly, this camera is stuck in 170 degree view, which is really wide, so if you like that, that's fine, it captures more. But if you want a normal view or a linear view, then you need to go for a different camera. Thirdly, the Eken has great colour, it brings out the colour really well, but it's not as accurate as, say, the GoPro. So if you want accuracy with colour, then you'll need to save your dollars up and buy a better quality camera there. Fourthly, in the 2K and 4K mode, I found the quality disappointing because they're only 25 to 30 frames per second. So it's like a fast flicker rate. If you want really good quality video, like 4K and 2K, then you'll need to again save up your dollars and buy a better quality camera. However, in HD, the 1080 at 60 frames per second is really good with this camera. And last but not least, the battery life on this, I found I got 1 hour out of it. So if you're going to do looping video, which is really handy, a lot of cyclists do, and you're riding more than 1 hour, which is most often, then you're going to have to take some spare batteries with you. Well, that's it for my review of this Eken H9R sports camera. It has sharper imaging than the GoPro, but the GoPro has smoother images, more pleasing on the eyes, and more acceptable on a professional level. But for about $60, there's hardly any competition achieving this quality for the price.